it's Devin. Welcome back to my channel. We have a special guest today. This is my mom, Petra.
Hey, I'm Petra.
She is visiting us from South Carolina this weekend for my baby shower. But if you notice, she does not have a southern accent. She has a Dutch accent.
I don't have an accent.
Don't mind my son in the other room. Today my mom is going to teach us how to make the belly butter that she had made for me for my stretch marks. But obviously if you're not pregnant, you can just use this as a body butter.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us the main butters that we're going to be using?
For today, what we have is a shea butter, we have a coconut butter, we have a cocoa butter, and we have some coconut oil that we're going to use with this. What do you have on oils, Devin?
We also have jojoba oil. We're going to be using some sweet almond oil. We have a little bit of rosehip seed oil, as well as some vitamin E. And then we're going to be using some essential oils. We chose to do lavender and frankincense, but we also are making sure the essential oils are pregnancy safe. So if you're not pregnant, you can obviously use different mixtures. Right. Also, we're going to be using a little bit of organic cornstarch. You can also use an arrowroot. And was there anything else that we had? No, that's it.
We have, make sure you have a couple of jars to fill this, and you can use whatever you want. You need a mixer to whip it up by the end of it all.
And a double boiler.
And a double boiler, obviously. And really, you can use whatever butter you have in the house that you have available. I've used avocado butter, I've used mango butter. They're all wonderful, so just use the right amount, and Devin is going to
Yes, I'm going to put in the description box below all the amounts that we use, so just make sure the amount of the thicker butters that you're using equals similar to what we're doing as opposed to with the regular runnier butters, just because you don't want your body butter to be too soft or too hard, depending. So if you don't have a double boiler, you can also just use a smaller pot and boil the water, and then put a bigger pot on top of it, because we just need to melt some of the thicker butters down. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
So in the top bowl over the heat, we are going to add the coconut, shea, and cocoa butter. And we're going to melt it down. So we had boiled the water underneath on the bottom pot, and then we put it on low. So just enough to get all of these butters nice and melted. Once it's smooth, you want to make sure that there's no clumps. We're going to add the coconut oil. So we're going to let this sit and let the coconut oil melt into the rest of the mixture. And while that is happening, we are going to add the cornstarch to the almond oil. And you want to make sure that you mix this also until it's totally smooth. We don't want our butter to have any kind of gritty texture. So once we get this all smooth, we're going to go over to the stove. We're going to take the pot off the heat, and we're going to add our almond oil and cornstarch mixture to the rest of the butters. Keep stirring just to make sure it gets nice and blended. After this, we're going to get all of the rest of our oils together, the jojoba, the rosehip, and the vitamin E. And now that it's off the heat, that's when we're going to add it. Now the jojoba, we're going to use about a 1/4 cup. And then the other two, the rosehip and the vitamin E oil, we're going to use about 1 teaspoon each. Now after this is all done and mixed, we are going to take this bowl and we're going to refrigerate it for about 1 to 2 hours. So you want it to be about solid on the outside rim of the mixture, but still soft in the middle, so that it makes it easy to whip up. Okay, so now we're going to put this in the refrigerator after we stir it, again for about 1 to 2 hours. And afterwards, when we take it out, we're going to whip it until the right consistency. You want it to be nice and creamy. Sometimes it takes a little while just to make sure that there's no clumps. You want it to be perfectly smooth. Now is when the essential oils are going to come in. We're going to take the essential oils and add. We're going to use about 30 drops of the lavender, and we're going to use about 15 drops of the frankincense. And after you add those, you're going to whip it up again a little bit more just to make sure everything is nice and mixed. You can use more essential oils depending on how strong you want the scent to be. And after this, you just put them in the jars. And you don't have to refrigerate these. You can if you want, or you can just store them at room temperature.
This one is full. This is nice. Okay.
So it's as simple as that. It's a pretty easy recipe. This is a nice, thick, rich body butter. Obviously, the consistency will be a little bit different considering like which butter you use. If you use a mango butter, avocado butter instead of the coconut butter that we used. But it's really good for pregnant bellies.
Yeah, I love it on dry winter skin, on my legs or my arms. It just feels good, but it is rich.
So let us know if you tried this recipe or if you've tried recipes yourself or have any different things that you've used in your recipes and you've loved, and leave it in the comments below. And if not, stay tuned for our next video. Bye!